Hey, I'm Dan Black. Good evening and welcome to episode 20 of our Eagles Nesting series while we're all staying at home and looking back at some of these historic moments in our club's history. In this season, the franchise pick up the BBL Championship title, and what a race it was. We talked to Drew Lasker in our last episode. We've got some more familiar faces from this fantastic Eagles team coming up in the sort of episodes to come as well. A lot, of course, who stayed with us for a number of years beyond this after what was kind of a little bit of a rebuild with some new guys coming into this 2013-14 Eagles team. But certainly one of these players made such an impression in this one season that he was with us. We're looking back at 2013-14 to the 2014 BBL Championship win, and part of that team of Eagles. It is great to welcome him to the Nesting. Malik Cooke, welcome.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm great, and it is great to see you again. First of all, how are you doing? How are things right now? It's a very tough time, obviously, for the world, but I really appreciate you taking the time to chat to us tonight.
Yeah, man. So I'm doing well right now. You know, I'm just trying to stay low, stay out the way. Just trying to stay in and stay safe right now, and you know, it's great. It's great hearing from you.
It was great to be able to get you on because, I mean, this was my first season working with the Eagles, as I said, when I was chatting with Drew in the last episode. It was your one and only season in the BBL before, I think, if the maths are right, is it then a run of 5 seasons in Europe, Austria, Hungary, France, most recently in Uruguay, so in the Americas. But this was your one only season in the BBL, and what was it like coming into to be a part of this team?
It was great, and I had a lot of great memories. Built a lot of great relationships, and some, I mean, pretty much all of my teammates from that season I still speak to every now and then, and it was just a great time and a lot of great memories, and I really enjoyed my time there.
I mean, you were, I guess, would have been 25 at the time then, first year pro, joining that Eagles team along with a bunch of another Americans. We actually have the team photo here that I can pop up on the screen so you can see. But joining alongside, of course, Scott Martin in his first season. Also with us, obviously, coming back to the Eagles, Paul Gores. We had Stu Thompson and Drew Lasker coming from elsewhere in the BBL. But there you are, 44. And what a season it was for you guys.
Yeah, man, it was a great season. This photo really brings back a lot of memories. I think this probably was like, I don't know, we was there pretty early, so that was maybe like the second or third day we were there, the first or second week maybe. So yeah, that's great. That's great there.
I mean, coming in and joining it, what was the buzz like amongst the team? Because as we said, we shy away from using the term rebuild after a Silver Whaler season, the one before, because there were some great performances in that season. A lot of guys coming back and returning anyway, but a lot of new blood coming in. Did that make it easier to join the Eagles for this season because you weren't kind of the only new guy?
Yeah, I think so. And like I said, I think I just had great teammates that year. Because you know, I was young, pretty much a rookie. You know what I mean? Because I played in Germany like half the season before that, but this was my first full season, and I had a lot of great teammates. Man, Paul Gause was, you know, he was my roommate that year, and he had played there previously, so he kind of schooled me a lot. And you know, I had great vets in Chuck and Darius and Fab, and then just great all around teammates and Scott and everybody else, Drew, Stu, Eddie. So it was great. It was just a great combination, and I think we all really gelled together pretty fast. So
the fans really loved your energy, you know, on and around court. You know, you were dubbed an explosive guard when you signed for us coming in. You know, you really put up some points in this season and you know, lived up to your name with that explosive play.
Yeah, man. Like I said, man, I just had a great time, and and my teammates were just so great. They kind of let me be me, and it was like everybody. We let everybody be who they were, and we worried about our strengths, and our weaknesses might have been someone else's strengths, and we always just had each other's back and was able to cover up for each other. And man, it was just a great time, and the fans were so great, and the energy was great in the building always, and on the road, and it was really a great experience.
What are your memories of Newcastle as a city? This was, like I say, was your one and only time playing in the BBL and at Newcastle. How did you find it?
Well, now I can look back on it and say that was probably one of the best places I've ever played at. Just as far as the city, it had pretty much everything that you needed. It was just a great environment. The city was great. It fit me perfectly.
The game that we're going to look back at tonight, as I say, you reigned some points in this game. It's a part of a series which we've come to play in this point in history as we've gone through all of the seasons from that very first silverware win many years back from now. But in this game, in this season, it's another game against the Leicester Riders that we're going to bring to everyone to watch after this interview tonight. In this game, like lots of others against the Riders, it's a real thrilling, tight game. You've put up 28 points, I think, actually, which wins us the game and helps us take this 3-0 series, then leads us on to winning the championship in this season. When you came into the Eagles and you'd heard about, obviously, the legacy, the history of the club and everything that precedes us, did that kind of weigh on you or affect the way that you approached games when you're looking at teams like Leicester, who, because the way the league works out, we hadn't really played until that cup final when they beat us? Did this kind of impact the way that you approached a game against a team like Leicester?
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously you hear the stories, and the players that have been there, played against them last year, and they had their history with them from the year before and previous years. So, it's definitely a lot of excitement around the game. And, one would say pressure, but not so much pressure, because you got to go out and perform and play. But it was just a lot of excitement and, like we're ready to play. So.
In this game, say you put up 28 points and it's a nail biter all the way to the finish. With these guys in this season, as you remember it, what did it feel like playing in a game like that where, it is toe-to-toe? You can, see this game going either way. Obviously, everybody in the arena wanted it to go our way, certainly Eagles fans, and it is a tough one, though. How do you get through a game like that?
Man, you just got to kind of rely on what you practice on, and really just sticking together, because there's going to be a lot of ups and downs. So it's kind of just about staying even keel and just staying the course. All week you practice and you have a game plan coming in to the day, and our coaches did a great job with that and kind of preparing us for the game. And so you just kind of want to stay the course and not deviate when things might not go your way or they might go on a run. And you just gotta, go with the even flow of the game and be even keel. I think that's the best way to approach it. You don't never want to get too high, get too low, because basketball is a game of runs.
A lot of Eagles players who we've spoken to throughout this series have said that with Fab, that training sessions, that those practices in the week were quite intense, and actually that was the best preparation you could have for a game, because the games actually weren't necessarily as hard as training as some of the guys have described it. Do you feel the same way? And how did you feel approaching that kind of type of play with a player coach?
The whole player coach thing was real different for me. I had never really heard of that outside of like Bill Russell. So it was a little different for me, but when I actually got there and got to see it, it all made sense. And Fab was definitely a coach that was definitely tough on us. He was hard on us, and and that was great. You know what I mean? Because it definitely prepared us for the games. And with him being hard on us on practice, it gave us kind of freedom on the court. He trusted us on the court because he know we had been through in practice. So, like the rest of my teammates, I would have to say that, you know, the trainings did help us, and they were super physical and tough, and it wasn't a lot of foul calls being called in those practices. So it definitely helped us and prepared us for the games.
It was a tough season, and there were some, great performances from many teams in the league, not just our Eagles, but this one obviously was a great one for you to be a part of the Eagles team, to have won the championship. I have a clip actually of the moment where we go on to win the championship, which is actually on the road at Surrey United. I don't know if you remember the game or that night. Maybe it's a blur. 58 to 106 actually finished in our favor in the final game of the season there. But I think you can see in this clip where you guys are obviously just really feeling that elation on a hard-fought season and getting to that final buzzer and being able to lift the trophy.
Yeah, this definitely brings back a lot of memories. You know, it was kind of like bittersweet. You know, we had been through so much that season, and there was a lot of ups and downs. And you know, to sit right there and hold the trophy at the end of the year was definitely great, because it's one of the goals that we set out to do. And so it's always no better feeling than that. But it's kind of bittersweet because, you know, the season's kind of getting closer to the end, and, you know, just the business of basketball, you just don't know if you're going to be able to come back as a group and try to defend what you won, you know?
It's great to see you guys all celebrating there, lifting the cup, which I think, if I remember, just immediately after that, nearly actually ends in disaster with the cup ending up on the floor. I think Chuck just manages to catch the lid at a brief moment of time. So some great memories from being a part of the Eagles program. We're going to look at the playoffs in the next round, but in that game, as it ends in the semifinals, again, it's another game against the Riders that we're going to be showing on Sunday. So a team we went toe to toe with in some big games a lot this season.
Yeah, the Riders was definitely kind of like our rivals that year. You know, it was always a lot of anticipation leading up until the weeks of those games, and you know, to come back and see them in the playoffs, to go to advance to the championship, to the playoff championship, that was definitely like kind of what we had been preparing for the whole year, you know. So it was definitely a great experience.
It would have been great if we could have lifted that playoffs title, but unfortunately went Worcester's way in the end. Malik, it has just been great to see you again, and hear memories have been part of this Eagles team in the 2013-14 season. Do you have a message for any of our fans that, obviously we don't always necessarily get much of a chance to chat to players after they've left the club, because you're in Austria or you're in France or wherever it is that you're at. But do you have anything you'd like to say to our Eagles fans from back then?
Man, I just want to say thanks for the great times and the memories and the support. And man, you guys are some of the best fans in the world.
Right, that's great, Malik. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us today. Stay safe, and we look forward to hopefully seeing more from you on the court in the future.
All right, man. Thanks.
So we go back to Friday, the 14th of March, 2014. We are at home at Sports Central, and we go on to win the 2013-14 BBL Championship, but not for a few games after this one. It is a nail-biter. It's an important game for us to win, to get another W on the board, because there's only one W in it when it comes to that final game against Surrey. So it was important to get it, and especially against the Riders. It's a nail-biter. Hang on to your seats and enjoy this one. Stay home if you can to stay alert and control the virus. Please do protect the NHS and social care. Save lives and enjoy the game.
The Leicester Riders. Leading the Riders are wearing 5. Jay Kutenard. At 7, Anthony Downing. At 8, They are the listeners, the Leicester Riders, and flying straight on shore, your North Star Eaglettes. It's time to be loud and proud. Make some noise! Can we be louder? Can we be prouder? Make some noise!
Be a referee though with that bit.
first goal. The visitors goal from the baseline. Your man comes this evening, and your champion. Your man
5 seconds. I've got BBL TV on the password.
your 7 days. Your lifelong sponsor, from Motor Group.
I know it's not a foul. I did warn you. I did warn you. That's Dodson making up for that ball.
Sullivan checks back in. 1-4-0-5 minutes. Sponsors 1907. Yeah, that one sponsor. Thank you, Leicester checks back in. 3:25. Period 2 remains. Double B. Flying back in the action, Van Loy. Takes a personal in the paint. Let's get them arms waving behind the basket. The rest of the squad central. Loud and proud. Make some noise!
Oh wow! Hope like a push before it. Generally aren't. go there and then
Yeah.
If you're behind that basket, get down, arms waving. The rest of us, loud and proud, make some noise!
that's what I'm 17 first.
Loud and proud, make some noise!
Oh, see the ball, man. Friday night, BBL action here at Sports Central.
Congratulations to the two lucky 30-second shootout players. They're on the green ticket if you want to go to the shootouts. 779 and 850. 779 and 850. Please make your way to the south entrance of the arena. That goes in now. Leicester rebound. We're inside 5 minutes. Biggest three remaining. Hassan brings it to a one-shot ball game.
Turn down, why do you turn it down?
Flying back into action, double B and Scott on 3:42. Daniels brings it third personal. Please make your way to the south entrance, 850. Thank you. Back in the flat back, the action comes down to 32 remains, 53. Leicester inbound.
must be in foul trouble. Silly dodgy.
1907 beds. Your match ball sponsor, Benfit
If he tried to dunk the ball, then might have given it. That might be a foul. Never mind. Oh, this guy? He's allowed to do that one.
58 on the game ball. It's Ryan and BBL Championship Sports Central. It's a big one.
Good job, Sully. Good job. He's up there all the time, Sully.
24 games, 17 shots. With Smith to inbound.
Oh, ta-da! Ta-da! Net 7.
Time or Sullivan time. Oh! Hello, Neil. Hello, Neil. Hello, Neil.
Make some noise! For Central, louder and prouder, make some noise!
Oh, he's on the court! He's on the court! He's on the court! Wow! Wow, Neil, good job! On the court, George! Look, swimming! There's a foul in there somewhere. Don't worry about Hassan Tote walking on court. Warning for flopping right about 4 minutes ago. Shoot, Connor. That's a good foul, girls. Good foul. 3 on goal.
Behind that basket, get them arms waving, help cover the boys, the rest of us, make some noise! Can we be louder? Can we be prouder? Yes we can! Make some
They're going to foul. Cheering. Malik's the one who's impeded. Malik left the line.
Don't forget who's your game MVP. Have your say, cast your vote in your Facebook page. We're at 60 seconds remaining on Friday Night Ball action.
Yeah, and that wasn't a foul either. I've seen you go through 10 points and they've got they're probably coming if they don't hit a free throw. Trouble here.
Sport Central, make some noise, come on, get behind the boys!
time. Robbie.
Friday night's ball game.